Reed with the EdisonReport, and I'm here with Zvi Segal, the CEO and President of Metrolight. Welcome, Zvi.
Hello, Randy.
Now, just one note, I was the founder of Metrolight in the U.S. in the year of 2001, and I am a stockholder in Metrolight. However, through the various VC investments, my stake in Metrolight has been diluted a bit, so I own a very insignificant portion of the company. So I just want to state that to begin with. So Zvi and I are old friends here, and we were talking a little bit about the market. And where do you see the market changing right now?
Okay, I would start with a real dramatic statement that the lighting industry is going through the first major technology revolution since the era of Thomas Alva Edison. You look at the incandescent light bulb and you show it to Thomas Alva Edison, he will think that he passed away a few days earlier. You take an iPhone,
Right.
you show him to Alexander Graham Bell and you tell him this is a telephone set, there's no way he's going to believe you. And I feel that with the LED revolution, this industry is now going to the same type of revolution of the entire solid-state market. And if we look at the trends in this market, like the major players in the LED chips producer, and it doesn't matter if it's Osram, Cree, Nichia or Philips, every 3 to 6 months they are coming with new chips, slightly better, slightly cheaper. And you look at the typical cycle of developing a new fixture, LED fixture, it takes over a year to come with a fixture to the market. In the US, you need also to go to certification, UL, DLC. So by the time you have a new fixture to introduce to the market, it's almost obsolete. It's like trying to sell iPhone 2 in a market which is expecting the iPhone 6 to be introduced. And talking to all the major OEMs in America and Europe, we see a major trend of shifting from efficiency of production. And if you look at the typical fixture, at the end of the day, it's a piece of metal, plastic glass, a socket, a driver or a ballast, and a screwing lamp or fluorescent lamp. Very high level integration. The pace of change is very slow. Moving to LED, it's totally different era.
Okay. Now, I think of Metrolight, of course, as an HID manufacturer, and I think the market thinks of Metrolight as an HID manufacturer. What are your plans now?
Okay, about a year and a half ago, when we saw this transition in the market, we asked ourselves what kind of assets we can bring to this market. When we started to interview the major OEMs, we started in America, then we shift to Europe to understand the requirements, and we found out that we have many assets which are very relevant to this market. If we look at our traditional electronic HID ballast, actually when we looked at it, we found out it's a very smart power supply. Actually, it's a combination of power electronics and a computer, a microprocessor. In reality, it's a very smart power supply that we can monitor and control every single parameter. And we found out that by changing only software parameter, we can turn this very reliable and proven driver with over 800,000 units installed in the market into an LED driver. Not just LED driver, but a very smart LED driver. And talking about the requirement of this market, if we look at LED, probably the first priority is reliability.
Right.
The LEDs continues to improve and probably will reach the 100,000 hours. And the bottleneck today is the driver. And most of the drivers in the market, most of them are the high quality driver are limited to about 100 to 150 watt. Okay. There are very few drivers that goes above that. Most of those drivers do not have this number of hours of operation. And we come with a proven device that it's in the market for years with over 800,000 installations, right, with a very low failure rate. fully controlled and fully programmable. So
How many watts?
we go all the way to 600 watts, and what is nice about it, and I use the term one size fits all. It's the same platform, only by reprogramming it, by software and changing software parameters. And we have a special software to reprogram the driver with the same hardware platform, and it goes all the way from engineering, manufacturing, till the end user.
So I was with Howard Wolfman at NEMA 2 weeks ago, and Howard was kind of explaining this, and he said the beauty of it is right now the OEMs buy their drivers for the most part from China, and they never have the right ones in stock. So they end up having to fly the drivers over based on different jobs. If I understand correct, with your LED driver, the OEM stocks that one driver, and then the OEM programs it to the number of LEDs.
Exactly. And actually, if you look at most of the driver manufacturers and you look at their catalog, they have between tens to hundreds of part numbers, because for every range of voltage, for every wattage, different current, you need different type of driver. You know, we heard from major OEMs that they finished the development of their new luminaire. They went to qualification and they found out that in order to get the DLC approved, they need 2.0 amps driver, and the current driver is 2.1 amp. Now they need to find a new driver to qualify it again, and while using our driver, all they need to do is just readjusting by software the output power or the current.
Okay.
Now,
does anyone else have an LED driver like that?
The closest one is Philips. It has some capability of programming, but not to the extent with all the capabilities that we provide, which means high power. We go all the way to 600 watts. If you want to do it with Philips, you need to do it with 3 to 4, even 6 drivers.
Okay. Now let's back up, because I think that's an important point. The way I understand it, for maybe a 400 watt solution, typically a luminaire company would need 2 or 3 drivers. They can do it with
exactly.
one, but maybe that's not so good, because they're nervous. If one driver fails, the light's completely out. If you have 3 drivers and one driver fails, you at least have some light. What's your response to that?
You know, at the end of the day, it's the compromise between the global reliability and what is called redundancy. And if you calculate the global reliability of a device which has a single driver, the reliability, the lifetime of a single driver, since it has less components, is much higher than 3 drivers. It's true that if you use 3 drivers, you have better redundancy.
But you're saying total component count,
yes.
You would be ahead.
You are 1/3 of the components count. So the overall reliability is better.
So you're really moving, I guess, to become an OEM supplier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is one of the major changes in the strategy of Metrolight, to deliver high quality drivers, high power, fully programmable and fully controlled, including wireless, by the way.